I think there's one thing that people rarely mention in this gender war, which is that all men pretty much agree that the woman has forfeit her role, and that this has caused everything to be out of whack. And one of the consequences of everything being out of whack is women having their own money and being employed. One of the things you see most often in YouTube comment sections, for instance, is like, well, actually, not even in comment sections, but just videos in general. You see women say things like, women never cook and clean for your man. If they even expect that, then that's a red flag and get rid of him. And make sure you never do those things, because if you do it, then he's going to expect it. And it's like, for a man, it just sounds like, well, the woman just wants to be 100% selfish and is like pretty much saying, well, I'm not going to do anything for you. Like, you actually want me to contribute to everyday life? That's crazy. You're supposed to do it all, and you're supposed to take me out and treat me, and you're supposed to treat me like a princess, and you're supposed to give me emotional support, and you need to make sure that you're prepared to do that all times of day, even if you're at work. And you have to come home and you have to pay me attention, and you can't be stressed out, and you can't want to have a time to yourself, and it just goes on and on and on. But one thing people never talk about is that I think when women consider the dynamic of like, oh, the woman cooks and cleans, they're really looking at it from the perspective that, well, she's going to be employed still. So she's going to work for, let's say, 40 hours a week. And then what? She has to come home and cook and clean for the man. And so they think to themselves, well, what's the man doing while I'm cooking and cleaning? What's he doing? Because they're assuming that the man's only working 40 hours a week as well, maybe 50. So the way they see it, it's like they feel as though we're giving them the unfair share of the burden, which, if that was the case, then that would be perfectly reasonable. But it seems to be a disconnect of men saying one thing and meaning one thing, and women taking it as something else. And the difficulty of this is that when men say, oh, we would like a woman to cook and clean because that's her traditional role, are men taking into account that there's very few men out there that are going to be able to afford to keep a wife at home? So, in the absence of the man being capable of providing for a family on one's salary, that kind of inhibits the woman's role from even occurring, because she has to go to work. So I can understand the women's frustration, but what the men are really saying is that, well, they wish that things were this way, and really they would like it to go back. And if only the women and the government, by extension, you know, were obliged to make that happen, then men, as far as men are concerned, things will go back to as they were before. But how's that going to happen? I don't think it can. It's like too far gone, you know. You can't just reconfigure the economy now, or if you did, it would take generations. All these men complaining, even if we was to get the ball rolling on returning to tradition, well, these men today are not going to be alive to see it. It's not going to be done until they're dead. So it looks like misery then.